Hey, I'm Chris, and this is my channel. Uh, this is a bunch of short clips of all the wildlife I've been seeing. I was doing a walk on a dirt road the other day, and this mama bear and last year's cub were hanging out in a cornfield, just eating everything they could dig up. It was pretty sweet. I ran across this flicker looking into its nest, but I didn't see any babies poking its head out. Still a beautiful bird. I was down at Silver Lake, and I've been told that the new pair of baby loons had just hatched. So I went down and got some beautiful video. You see the parents tending to them. The father's trying to give the 2-day-old a fish, and then the 1-day-old comes out, but it's really not ready for fish yet, though it thinks it is. Just beautiful animals, huh? Now, I ran across a pileated woodpecker nest this year. First time I've ever seen them up close. And son of a gun, the mother is like 1.5 feet tall. It's one of the biggest birds I've ever seen up close like that. They're gorgeous. I did have to leave my camera on a tripod and walk away so she would come feed the darn guys. But, it was a wonderful time. There's a kestrel that lives right near the farmhouse I live in. He sits on that tree all day and just jumps down on bugs all the time. And then outside the front door, we got a house wren living in an old shed. That's part of the farmyard where I'm living. And this is a black-capped chickadee with a nest in a tree stump. Oh, check this out. A female oriole gathering nest material in the spring this year. Like parts of an old vine or something, so you can go get things going. Oh, it's the bluebird of happiness. Lives right on the farm here with me. And he wants to welcome you to this video too. This is one of my favorite things. This mama fox had only one kit this year that I ever saw. He gives her a little kiss and he goes off to play. And boy, she won't take her eyes off me. I'm at max zoom far away and she's, I'm a danger, so I had to get out of there after a couple of shots. I don't like upsetting them. And then this is a mink at the Otter Creek, the falls in Middlebury. He pulled probably a dozen crawdads out of that stream, out of the creek, in 20 minutes. And then I had an uneventful hike, and when I went to drive out, this young porcupine was just blocking the road. So I got some pictures of the cute little wiggle. And when it finally got off to the side, it dropped its quills and flattened them out so it wasn't afraid anymore. That's a dark-eyed junco scavenging at the base of an old bird feeder. And then a beautiful cardinal doing the same thing. Those are buffleheads, just really rare in Vermont. Lucky to see them at all. And that's a Caspian tern getting its breakfast out of Lake Champlain and flying off. And then this possum was at the Dead Creek Wildlife Preserve. It walked across the road, then it went in this field that was turned over last year and just started getting bugs. And then here's midwinter, when the lakes mostly froze up, the Canadian geese were coming through. Just so many of them out there. Now here's a turkey vulture. And this is some goldeneye floating out behind some totally frozen trees. And then this bald eagle is eating a great blue heron that it found. I'm just driving along and I see a bald eagle 50 feet from the road and stop and get these pictures. They're just wonderful animals whenever you run across them. Here's a couple more eagles. That's a pied-billed grebe. Very elusive cute little ducks, little waterfowl. Only one I've ever got a shot of. And then this barred owl is staring at me in the woods because I fell down onto my back into a bunch of bushes. And I zoomed out a little and he was like, "I cannot believe you fell over. Can't you fly?" And I'll show you. This is where I first saw him. Look at that camouflage, huh? Amazing. And we get thousands of geese on the creek every year. Here they are just flying in and causing havoc. And then eventually they all settle down and just honk at each other for days on end. I never run out of enjoyment when it comes to hanging out by the creek. Yeah, and here's a great egret pulling fish out of the lake, roaming around with a couple, I think, female mallards in the background. Oh, this bald eagle's just landing in a tree for 3 seconds and then takes off again. Some days you never know. And there's a green heron on the creek, and if you watch, when he bites to the left, he misses the bug, and the bug runs up his beak. Look at him. Watch this. The bug gets away by running up his head. You gotta love that. There's a big old snapping turtle that was right below the falls in Middlebury, sunning itself on a rock. And, I thought the eyes were the most beautiful part of this scaly dinosaur. And every now and then I actually zoom in on something tiny. I just happen to see a beautiful bee hanging out on the poison parsnip. And here's a groundhog that when he saw me, he froze for like a minute, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, you're not going to eat me? I'm leaving. And this is last year's loon. They only had one kid last year. That's about 4 weeks old. Those are wood ducks in an over pond that's just covered in green algae. And it looks like they're growing up in pea soup to me. And then here's a couple of osprey in their nest at Crown Point, tearing up a fish to give it to the young ones. And that is a Carolina wren sunning itself. And they do that to get rid of parasites and grow like vitamin D or something. Leslie the bird nerd taught me that. There's osprey panting and trying to cool itself. And listen to that call. These are barn swallows getting fed over and over by the mama. Then the light changed a little bit. Same group. And this is a tree swallow. There's a couple more in there too. And he's just like, where's mom? Where's the food? What's going on? Don't you know we're hungry? And then you can see he reacts. He's like, ah, she's here, hooray. What a good mom. There's some barn swallows catching the late daylight, sitting on top of a barn. This is a northern harrier. The one common thing they have when they're searching for, mice and voles, as soon as they see you, they go the other direction. This one didn't see me. That's a phoebe on a stick. They're beautiful birds, and they make the sound, Phoebe, Phoebe. And here's a close-up of an osprey that put up with me getting as close as they could to get actual in-focus pictures. And that is a kingfisher. Can't really see it, but he beating a crawdad to death on a stick. And I thought that was kind of fun. These are common mergansers swimming in the creek, and I guess they're all going down for breakfast. There's a couple more phoebes sitting on a wire. They spend the whole day on this wire, day after day, just eating bugs. Some more common mergansers in a line on the creek. See a lot of those families around. Then there's a spotted sandpiper hanging out on the creek. They always bob everywhere they go, up and down, bob and bob. And this is last year's loon baby, at just a couple days old. And listen, at the end of the video, you hear the parents calling. It's beautiful. Quite leisurely. I didn't want to do feeder pictures, but these ruby-throated hummingbirds don't seem to hang out anywhere else that I can find them. Then regularly while I'm out, white-tailed deer are staring at me like I'm a fool. There's a few more barn swallows on a barn. Here's a bobolink in a field. I searched those for 2 years, and when I finally found them, there was 50 of them in one place. Another day and the ospreys are feeding their kids again. Here's a pileated woodpecker from past years, just tearing up trees in the forest. And then something unusual, I've never seen one on the ground before, and this one actually goes all the way down to the ground for just a moment. There's cedar waxwings. Looks like their wings are dipped in sealing wax. That's why they got that name. I saw this one fly on and off that same branch about 20 times. Green heron feeding, one of my favorites. Throws his whole self in to get that fish. They're very shy birds. I always feel lucky when I find one.
Mosquitoes. Don't. You hit me right when you went for the food.
That means he's looking right at me and he wants to leave. And there's the mama loon last year on her nest before that one baby was born. These are some black ducks hiding out in the reeds on the creek. A big old snapping turtle on the side of the creek again. There's some geese and goslings right on the side of the road on Route 7 in New Haven, just hanging out with the kids. Boy, those are big for babies. Some mallards doing a double dip, a perfect one. I think these are northern map turtles. You can see 20 of them on a log sometimes. There's a great blue heron with a broken leg, and I saw it fly in, and I saw it fishing, and it didn't seem to have too much trouble. It seems to have adapted to being mangled up. There's a grackle mama feeding their babies. I saw them again this year in the same hole in the same tree. There's some more black ducks on the creek. So adorable when they're all put together like that. There's a mallard squawking at me. Standing on a tree in the middle of the creek. And these are wood ducks. See, she's got the white around her eye, and all the kids have a different feather pattern. Another whitetail just looking at me, ignoring me. This is an American redstart. Beautiful sound. Just tweeting over me while I was on a hiking trail. This is a downy woodpecker. Found this nest last year. Brought a whole bunch of bugs in to feed her kids. Or his kids. I don't know who feeds them. There's a yellow warbler. Always gorgeous to see.
No.
Then
There's a masked bandit stealing my bird seed.
I want to talk about that. This is the first wildlife adventure I had 2.5 years ago with an iPhone. A moose walked out 30 feet away from me when I was up at Abbey Pond. And then I got my brain together, started a video, and I'm going to tell you right now, the whole rest of my video is just 3 minutes of this moose swimming across here. So if you want to bail, it's a good time. But if you like watching moose swim across lakes, it's a good time to stay. Also, you're going to see a couple of Canadian geese come in. They harassed this moose all the way across the lake like they chased him. Like as if they had some business with telling him what to do. But he goes to the far side and he just starts chewing on underwater plants. Hey, thanks a lot for watching this, and like, subscribe, blah blah blah. This is my first real video, so I'm already happy. You don't have to do anything else. Thanks.